What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. And with Backlash just 2 weeks away, you know the WWE will be building hype for the pay-per-view. So join us now as Wrestlelamia analyzes Raw and looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a WWE superstar re-signing with the company, has Vince McMahon forgiven Roman Reigns, a big NXT Call Up to the Blue brand, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. As always, we won't waste your time recapping the matches, but we will take a look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from last night's show. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, a cunning champion. Drew McIntyre is the kind of WWE champion we can all get behind, a badass who isn't fooled by heels' transparent ploys and who's always looking for a fight. McIntyre's appearance on MVP's The VIP Lounge had all the makings of a classic setup, with fans expecting to see MVP's client Bobby Lashley show up and ambush him. While MVP denied that was his plan, McIntyre wasn't waiting for it to happen and took MVP out, taunting Lashley to get in the ring. The segment was well executed, with MVP referring back to the time he offered his managerial services to McIntyre and Drew turning him down. MVP wants revenge for McIntyre turning him down, and it looks like Lashley could be the means by which he achieves it. Also, that kip up in the suit was absolute perfection. How the hell do you do that in a suit? I wouldn't be able to do a kip up on a trampoline. Number 2, a wild brawl. The build up for Drew vs Bobby has been done well, and the pull apart brawl between the two at the end of Raw was a fantastic way to show the fans what they can expect between the two at Backlash. Having the wrestlers run in to help pull the two titans apart was clever, and while some fans will criticize the WWE for dismissing proper social media distancing practices, it was an exciting way to end the show. Number 3, and a new United States champion. Apollo Crews' United States Championship was a long time coming, and while we enjoyed Andrade's nearly 6-month reign as US champion, it was time for a new champ and a new direction for Andrade. Whether the WWE turns Andrade babyface or has him feud with someone new, he should have no problem continuing his steady climb up the WWE ladder. Number 4, an iconic beatdown. It was great to see the WWE building up what looks to be a feud between the Iconics and Women's Tag Team Champions Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and the Iconics' beatdown on the champs was a tried and true way to get their heat back after losing their title match last week. As we've commented in the past, the women's tag team division is short on teams, so the WWE should utilize 2 established teams to help build up the belts. WWE, don't you dare think about breaking these 2 up. Number 5, bringing back the good. It was good to see an audience present at Raw, and while the presence of only a small number of fans may seem insignificant, as we've seen in AEW, they can make a notable difference in the way a show seems. Tonight's audience wasn't the same as an arena full of fans, but it was a refreshing change of pace and added some much needed energy to the performance center. Number 6, a big win. The WWE continues to give Angel Garza a steady push, this time giving him a huge win over former Universal Champion Kevin Owens. While Owens has bounced back and forth between the upper card and main event, there's no denying a win over him is very significant. If the WWE continues pushing Garza, the Lethal Lothario could become a notable player on Raw. Number 7, Seth's growing faction. The WWE is doing a great job rebuilding the Monday Night Messiah's cult, and in hindsight, this is a collective that makes more sense than Rollins' hodgepodge of Murphy and AOP. While Murphy fits in well as a cast-off who is easily manipulated in joining Seth, the AOP never seemed like they had a credible reason for joining up with Rollins. Not so with Austin Theory, who seems like another fragile soul who is ripe for brainwashing by Rollins. Rollins' disciples are a good match, and hopefully their association with him will elevate 2 wrestlers who have considerable potential. And finally, Seth's sinister scheme. Seth Rollins isn't playing around when it comes to going all out as a heel, doing a superb job as a psychopath who's becoming one of the most dangerous forces in WWE. If Rollins continues to build his army of followers, the WWE could have a fantastic storyline as Rollins threatens the Red brand, taking out wrestlers such as he did with Rey Mysterio and threatening to take out more. Rey has announced that he might be retiring next week, probably to further the angle. All we can hope is that Rey better be wearing a salmon-coloured blazer next week. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, bringing back the boring. One thing we weren't happy to see back was the boring nearly 15-minute opening talk segment featuring Raw Women's Champion Asuka, Natalya, NXT Women's Champion Charlotte and Nia Jax. Whoever thought it was a good idea to have 15 minutes of talk between these four open the show must have forgotten how similar segments hurt the ratings last year. Then again, it's likely WWE would kill to have the same numbers as 2019 compared to its current ratings. Number 2, don't believe the hype. Wrestling and hyperbole go hand in hand, but the ongoing greatest match ever hype for Edge vs Orton is only angering fans who are sick of the WWE acting as if this was the greatest match ever. The more WWE pushes it down their throats, the more likely that they're going to get disgusted. And thankfully for the WWE, there won't be any fans at Backlash to voice their complaints. And number 3, another painful segment. The WWE continues to find a way to take an otherwise solid show and put in a segment that's played for laughs, but instead it's more likely to have fans changing the channels. No one wants to see the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits compete in basketball, axe throwing or golf. They want to see them competing in the ring. We're certainly enjoying the presence of MVP on Raw, but we hope he's not the one who reminded Vince and the WWE writers of the awful contest he had with Matt Hardy years ago that included a basketball competition, a pizza eating contest, and other non-wrestling events. And just for the record, was that fake alligator in the mini-golf segment designed by the same outfit that created Rowan's infamous giant spider? Now, there was no Downright Ugly on this week's show. If the WWE can continue putting on quality shows like last night and last week's Raw, the presence of an audience will hopefully help the Red brand regain some of its audience and encourage the WWE to continue with its current direction. Hey, we can always dream. Other than the terrible golf segment, last night's show was a strong one and it helped set up the Raw portion of Backlash. Added the hope that Rob Gronkowski might finally drop the 24/7 championship, and fans had to feel they'd seen the best show in quite some time. But that was the good, the bad and the downright ugly. Let's move on to the news. As our first story looks at the return of a SmackDown superstar. Now, several news sites are reporting that former SmackDown superstar Drew Gulak is back on the Blue brand and officially listed on its roster. WrestleZone's Tyler Treese is reporting that on its official website, WWE has added Gulak back to the list of active roster members and he's no longer listed as an alumni. In addition to that, Fightful Select is reporting that Gulak worked this week's SmackDown taping. Drew Gulak is a talented wrestler who the WWE would be wise to utilize as he has the ability to work with a variety of opponents and has made the most of his recent push. Next up, has Vince McMahon forgiven Roman Reigns? While it's unknown how much, if any, heat the WWE front office has with Roman Reigns for taking time off due to the ongoing health crisis, reports are all over the place with some sources claiming there is heat and others claiming there's no problem. There is some encouraging news though, as Vince McMahon tweeted the following: "Happy birthday to three-time WWE Champion and former Universal Champion Roman Reigns. His conquest of adversity both in and out of the ring has served as an inspiration and guiding light to countless people around the globe." Meanwhile, this was Vince McMahon's message to Shane McMahon, his son. Happy birthday, Shane. While Roman Reigns has been mentioned on SmackDown, this is a good sign and hopefully there's no bad feelings towards the WWE and the big dog. Next up, Seth Rollins' take on Roman Reigns' absence. Speaking of Roman, how does his Shield brother Seth Rollins feel about him taking time off from the WWE due to the current pandemic? Speaking with Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso, the Monday Night Messiah said, "I was fortunate to get the news a while back and it was nice to see him come out and explain why he's been taking time off. He's got 5 kids running around at home and he's trying to help the wife out and make sure everybody's safe. It's awesome. It seems like everyone is getting on the new kid thing these days. It's good to see Rollins supporting his friend and it should be interesting to see whether he takes time off when Becky has their child. Do you think Seth will take a sabbatical? Let us know in the comments down below." Next up, is Drew McIntyre worried about being booed? Drew McIntyre won the WWE Championship at the Showcase of the Immortals, a tremendous achievement, but one unlike any other since there were no fans present. While the fans cheered the captain of Claymore Country en route to WrestleMania 36, will they cheer him when the live events return with fans? During an appearance on the Gorilla Position podcast, the WWE Champion noted, "I've said in the past that social media can be a tad negative sometimes, but since I won the title, they've They've been very positive, and every week they're very positive. And there's feedback they're rallying behind me, which is cool because I know I'm just a wrestling fan in the end who's made it. I'm working as hard as I possibly can. I think you can see that passion hopefully comes through the camera when I'm out there. Drew seems gung-ho about wanting to reconnect with the WWE Universe and said he wants to be the first wrestler to come out when the WWE holds its first event with fans. They know, like, when we get to the arenas, I want to be the first one to come out. I don't want any dark matches, I don't want any main event tapings or anything that we do prior to Raw starting. I'm gonna do whatever I can to harass Vince McMahon until he says, "It's okay Drew, you can do this." I want to be the first person that walks out of that curtain. The fans are going to be rabid to get back. And we're confident the WWE Universe will cheer Drew McIntyre when the fans return to WWE shows, as long as they continue booking him the way they have done so far. And finally, a big NXT Call Up. Last but not least, Matt Riddle might finally be jumping from NXT to the main roster. Riddle's tag team partner Timothy Thatcher recently turned on him, setting up a big cage match on the 27th May NXT with Kurt Angle as a guest referee, but bigger things could be ahead. According to Diamond Dave Meltzer, Matt Riddle's main roster debut right now is scheduled to be imminent, so his cage match with Timothy Thatcher could either be his blow-off or lead to it. PW Insider also noted that multiple sources have confirmed that Riddle is scheduled for a call-up to the Blue brand. That'll definitely be interesting. God, we hope we see a match between him and Daniel Bryan. That would be absolutely awesome. But there you have it guys, the good, the bad and the downright ugly from the 25th May edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. What did you think of this week's show? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.